Hi, welcome to Psychic.biz Live. I'm Aeson, and with me tonight is Sonja Haynes and Divine Angel. And we're going to be talking about what we're going to be doing over at the Psychic Coffee Shop this week. And then we're also going to be helping you guys start out with your own intuition and how to benefit from it. Plus, if you'd like, over in the chat box, put your question with your name and birthday, and we'd be happy to give you 3 points of views of it. Speaking of points of views, let me introduce Miss Sonja Nadina Haynes, who just came off the Oracle's point of view. Hi,
Yeah.
Sonja.
Hey, Aeson, you are a star in getting us all organized and technically, I understand I understand your personality, I understand your spirit. Computers, forget it. Aeson is the one that keeps us all in line. I am Sonja Haynes, and I'm an emotional healer. That's the overall umbrella, because your physical, spiritual, emotional self requires your focus to heal. I am on Psychic.biz. Most days, if you don't see me there, send me an email and for an appointment, and we'll get that all set up. I have my show on my own personal show called Change Your Mind, Shift Your Life on Blog Talk Radio. I'm also on the Psychic Coffee Shop I just came off of it, so called the Oracle's Point of View. I help you resolve the unconscious imprinting that has caused you to travel along the path that you are. So I help you clear out the closet, clear out the cupboard so that you can charge forth into the future. We are here to figure out how to live our lives well. And that's what my job is, to help you figure that out and step into it. I may use the tarot cards. I do intuitive readings, and sometimes most times your guides show up, or your loved ones show up, and then I'll just tell you what's there. So send you on to Divine Angel. Okay, there you go, sweetie.
Thank you, Sonja. And hi, Aeson. Thank you very much for all you do. I absolutely love it. And yeah, I'm technical savvy as well. So, but what you do is simply amazing. It's awesome. Thank you for that. Okay, Sonja, thank you for the nice introduction here. So, I am Divine Angel. I am also to find on Psychic.biz. I'm a certified angel card reader. I learned my angel card readings. I needed something for myself, the certification through Doreen Virtue and Bradley Valentine. It was a lot of fun. And I also read tarot cards for a long, long time. For me, it is very important that you as a client or as a customer get the best of me with compassion and empathy. I will find you the clarity that you are looking for. It is very important to me that you go out of a reading with a feeling of encouragement, and that your life is eventually getting a little bit better, even when it means that I just put a smile on your face again. That's very important. It gives me a really good feeling inside. I am also on the Psychic Coffee Shop doing a Sunday night show called Angel Whispers. And there you can learn more about how to connect with your angels. I do mini readings there and so on. On Psychic.biz, you should find me, hopefully, this week way more often, because my daughter got into a car accident. She is more, she is very important to me, so I helped her out a little bit for this past week and will continue to help her out. Send me an email on Psychic.biz. I'm going to be there for you. For an appointment that you want to set up. It's not a big deal, and I will be on there tonight as well. So just stop by, and I give it now to Aeson.
Well, we were kind of talking pre-show about what to talk about tonight, and we decided we'd talk about learning to how to use your own intuition. And I think everybody has their own intuition. I think everybody has their own idea of things. I know when I'm working with students teaching tarot, I also kind of include, how to understand their intuition and how to kind of pull extra information out of the cards, but also to be able to follow that second sight, that second God, that second sense, that angelic information, whatever that's coming at them. So I thought we'd talk about, learning how to do that tonight. And, I'll share one of the exercises. I had a student, and they were like super clairvoyant. And, they were like, oh, but, because we're not taught to follow that first thought. And, spirit doesn't repeat itself that often. If it does, it's going to be much louder and harder in your life. But they were always second-guessing themselves, like, oh, that was just, I must have heard it in a conversation, or I saw it on TV, or I this, that, and another. So I took them out back, because my property backs up on an interstate. Unfortunately, I'm not like Miss Sonja that has the lovely sounds of the train. I have those lovely sounds of the 18-wheeler. And I was like, all right, tell me which color car is coming next. And after about the third one, they started just spitting it out because I stopped asking them a question and waiting for the answer. What color is that car? What color is this? What color is that? And that's literally how fast information flows. The universe first doesn't have the principle of time. Us as readers, psychics, whatever, we have to put that principle into estimation. But with the intuition, you have to learn to follow that first answer. And a lot of us are no longer taught to follow that first answer or that first thought that comes to our mind. How do you work past that, Sonja?
Intuition to me is a knowing. When you know, that's it. And if you know something and then you decide to discount that knowing, for example, you know your name. I know my name is Sonja. Period. I know my name. If someone calls me Shirley, I won't turn around because my name is Sonja, right? So there's that knowing. So when you use your intuition, you're actually using your inner knowing. And it's funny because there are a lot of people who may make a comment about something, and then it occurs, and they say, "I knew it. I knew." Didn't I tell you? I knew it. And then if you say to that person, "You're intuitive," they'll say, "Oh no, 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 no. It's not possible." So to me, intuition is a knowing. It's a knowing that is locked inside of your spirit. And with that, and so it's a connection to the world around us, which is why, as Aeson said, the person was able to choose the color, to see the color, or anticipate the colors of the cars that were coming because they locked into it before it came into view. And so for me, I call it floating. I basically float through life, which may sound strange, but that's how my knowing can be utilized in my own life. I don't try to control things. Because when you try to control, you're actually operating from fear, and when you operate from fear, you lose the connection to your intuitive nature. So it's all about you, and I know they all said, oh, it's all about you, but it is all about you. It's about you and your knowing and what's inside of you, and if you allow it to bubble up, you will always be steered in the correct direction, whether you like it or not. Sometimes we don't like it, but
and sometimes we have to change that steering, going, all right, chauffeur, we want to go left a little more. I want the BMW, not the Hoop de Ville.
Thank you, the Laudamasi.
Divine, do you think it's where for years people kept putting all this mystic, hoofy, puffy, flowy, smoking incense and dark mirrors and all, started putting in all that people, when we say intuitive or whatever, they don't see it as a natural thing for them?
Well, you mentioned a dark mirror, right? I mean, I have something like that as well.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, it's a
And I
lovely
also have,
scrying mirror.
yeah, I also have a crystal ball. I have experimented with that. For me, I have learned intuition does not only come from staring at something, but for some people it works, for others it doesn't. Um, I need to tell you a story of myself when I was about 9 years old. And my mom, my grandma, my brother, and I, we went on a vacation, and that was very interesting. We took a country stroll, and we were walking and walking and walking, and my mom all of a sudden said, "We are lost. I don't know where we are." So we clearly lost our way, and I was looking around, and all of a sudden I saw something in front of my eyes. I saw a little dark house. And I told my mom, we need to follow that way. And my mom said, "Ugh, what do you know? What do you know?"
Yeah.
And my grandma said, "Trust her. Trust her. When she says, my grandma said, trust her. My mom said nothing anymore. She was kind of angry about that. And my grandma followed me and asked me, "Hey, where do you think we need to go?" And I said, "That way." And we followed that way. And guess what? We found the street and we found a restaurant. And that was exactly the house that I saw. My grandma looked at me, and I'm getting the chills still. Whenever I tell the story, I get the chills. She asked me, "How did you know?" And I said, "Grandma, I believe I was here before." And I
Uh-huh.
knew it here. I knew it here in my gut. I knew it. I knew it in here. And my mom looked at me and said, "Well, you and your imagination." And that was it. My mom never really accepted that gift. My grandma did, and she's always with me, I can tell. However, I think intuition, when we build that up, when we encourage that, kids will, especially kids, have intuition. Kids see angels, they see fairies, they have imaginary friends, including me. I had an imaginary friend that was put aside by my mom. And also, we need to encourage that gift in kids and let kids be kids. When they have an imaginary friend, let them develop their intuition. And I think everybody is different. And I get my gut feeling. I go by that, and I go also by my dreams. I get a lot of information through dreams, and I go by what I feel. And as Aeson said in the very beginning, and Sonja, you said that too. Go with your gut feeling. Go with that what you feel first, and that is the way to go. And if you second guess yourself, you need to trust. Trust. We had that topic not too long ago. Trust yourself. Trust your intuition. Every psychic should do that. Does that. Mediums do it right off the bat. They trust themselves, and that's very important. And that is how I see it with intuition and
Mm-hmm.
how I do it. Give it back to you, Aeson.
Okay, my time for story time. And it's actually not story time, it's kind of factual time. In Ireland, back in well, they used to do it before the 50s. I think some families still do it. Let's say something comes up missing. They'll take and put a stool in the kitchen and set the eldest daughter on it and tell her to sit there for 5 minutes and think about it, and then tell them where it is. So with that culture of already, trusting that gut, trusting that spirit, that's why we see so many mediums and so many psychics coming out of that Irish Celtic background.
Yeah.
Same thing with the Romneys, because they never look at a kid and say, "Well, that's just your imagination," or "Well, you don't know anything, you're just a kid," or get over there and sit down. That used to be my mom's favorite. Go sit down. Especially when I've been proven right. Just go sit down. So, yeah, I think as children, when we get children, when we're blessed with children, we forget to encourage that, they're not only a child, but they're a spirit. And that spirit
Mhm.
has abilities. That's why, children under 4 and 5 and 6, probably up until we send them off to school, which I don't know what age they do that now. It keeps getting younger. Pretty soon they'll be 6 months and going into some form of school. um, you should encourage them to tell you who they were before when they were big. Encourage
Mhm.
them to tell you what they think, who's on the phone, or encourage them to tell you what they think as they're driving down the road. If you ever listen to children,
Mm-hmm.
they really do talk a lot. And it's not all gibberish. Most of it makes perfect sense to someone that's not looking, going, you're 3, you should know that. You don't have a clue about that. You don't have a clue about a car. How would you know that the brakes needed changed? Well, gee, I don't know. Maybe I was a mechanic in a past life. The brakes need changed.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah,
Yeah.
where do you think that divide occurs at, Sonia, when most people start second guessing themselves?
As you were talking, it brought to mind, the story about the little boy who died and went to heaven. I think he wrote a book.
Mhm.
Heaven is for
Mm-hmm.
real.
Yes.
And
Heaven is for real.
yes, and I saw an article. He was older, so I don't know, 5 years or so. I don't know how long ago he did it, but some few years after, I saw an article where he actually admitted on the air that he made it up. So someone badgered and badgered and badgered that kid into saying that heaven isn't real. It's not. It's not what he said it was. He made it up. And I that's my feeling about it. I think that when I saw that, I thought it was so sad because he was given this magical gift
Mhm.
of being able to see into another realm. And we all want to know that heaven is for real. And if someone goes there and comes back and tells us that it's real, who cares? It's their story, it's their journey. Don't stop them. And that's what
Yeah.
happens with a lot of children, especially when they get to be 6 or 7 years old. That's when they break away, because during the first 6 years they will be able to see. They see a lot of different things, and each time they say, "Mommy, I see this," and Mom says, "Don't be stupid," or as you said, "Go to the other room." Each time it's done, a piece of them is chipped away. The intuition isn't turned away, but their belief in themselves is chipped away. The unfortunate thing is that when the child's belief in themselves is chipped away and their intuition is diminished, their self-esteem is diminished. And these are the kids that end up being bullied the most when they go out into the world, because they're not able to stand up. They can't say to someone, I see what you did. You shouldn't have done that. They can't say it because someone's going to say, well, you're cheating. Oh, there's a wonderful story in one of the courses that I did where this man was in the course, and he said he stopped playing baseball. He was actually almost crying. He said, "I stopped playing baseball because when I was 6 years old, I was, we're playing baseball, and I was in outfield." And he said he threw his glove up, and the glove caught the ball and came back down into his hand. And every single person told him he cheated, so that catch didn't count. Every time we tell a child that their imagination is wrong, which is
Mhm.
their imagination, you know what I mean? Every time we tell a child that their imagination is wrong, and if we do it before their 6th birthday, after that they develop that disillusionment, and that's why they tend not to succeed as well in the future. But it's all is not lost, because that person can go back to that magical child and bring that child forward and reconnect with that intuitive nature, which is why people take courses and such.
Right. And for me, I just always had my grandmother said, "Oh yeah, they just don't know any better. They're grown ups. They'll figure it out later." And I think that's one reason that grandparents are so important in every psychic's life. You'll see that the parents may not have been the encouragement, but there was another adult figure that did. Especially with that, sometimes that psychic gene skipping a generation. But what I find interesting with the story about the child that went to heaven and came back and wrote a book, and now he says he made it all up. Really? It's like, hello, you're too late. You wrote a great book. You're now a best-selling author. Now it's time for you to go visit the Congo and tell us how that was. I feel a lot of that has to do with the pressure we put on people.
That's right.
And the pressure that we put on ourselves. If you're wrong, oh well, guess what? Everybody's wrong. Everybody should be wrong. Guess what? Take another shot at it. But if you listen to, oh goodness, some of the biggest business people that ever came out. The people that founded McDonald's, the guy that founded Facebook, one of my favorites, Gary Vaynerchuk, or Whoopi Goldberg. Those are 4 people I look up to a lot, because they all say, well, I just knew it would work. No one ever told me I couldn't.
That's right.
This is why it works. And I think in this culture, we've got to get out of that, well, if it's not black and white, it doesn't work, it's not going to happen. Well, yeah, it will happen if you put enough passion and enough understanding into it. And the first thing is learning to give your permission to be wrong.
Yes.
To be not in the right place, or not say the right thing, or not pick the right location. Take it as, okay, well, that was wrong. Okay, let's try it again and see if we get the same response. But let's try it this way differently. So, Divine, how do you see it when you began developing? Because, you developed, with some training and stuff. How did you take that, getting used to processing it? Building that muscle up?
That started, let me see, that started out, how did I process that? Actually, I need to say I'm incredibly grateful for what I was able to learn. Grateful to Spirit, grateful to my grandmother, grateful to even the near-death experience that I had, because that really got me back on track, back where I should have been. And ever since, I keep developing my gifts. And how do I process that? I'm just grateful, thankful for what I have. And if somebody is coming my way, and I have seen something that was the very first time that I saw on my other place where I worked. A client had the audacity to tell one of the psychics that they are, and I say it out loud, full of poop. And I think, this is something I thought, ooh, this is not good. So there was a client or a customer who didn't trust the guidance that she was given. And it made me a little bit angry, but mostly it made me sad, because it was not the right thing to do. I would not say that to anybody who wants to help me, to find clarity. You don't talk to people like that. I think that's not okay. And I don't know how the other person, how the psychic or advisor actually processed that. But I would have said, okay, fine. You don't want to hear it, click. And that's it.
Mm-hmm.
That is how I deal with it.
Mm-hmm.
For me, I have, I have learned to deal with people who are negative, who don't want to, who always find their but and yeah, but and this and that. They do not want to listen. That is okay. In the end, in all honesty, it is not my life. It is
Right.
their life.
Right. Well.
So for me, for myself, I process my gift pretty well. I think I enjoy it even.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think there's anything wrong with it, and I always encourage others to, when they have children, to encourage them
Right.
to really, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So.
For me, and it's kind of weird for me, but I'll put it this way. I've had people come back like 2 years later and go, "You were so right," and I'm like, "And what else is new?" For me, it's you're confirming something that I already knew. It's like, and what's next? What have you done with it since then? If I remember it. But the other thing that gets me in it was when I first started, because for me it used to be very hard to do just one reading. Because I went into it, kicking and screaming, and it was like, okay, let's do one. All right, I'll do two. Okay, let's do 30. So I had to turn it back. That's why I asked for you, how you built that muscle up of trusting that intuitive side of you. What about you, Sonja?
I was always it's the trust. Oh boy, the concept of trusting the muscle came up after I realized that this ability that I have is actually something, because my grandmother used to boast. They use the term boast on me. She was either telling us that we were nothing, or she was telling everybody how genius we were. And she was at a store, one of those corner shops, and she was talking to the man. And she was a fast talker. She was only 4'11", so she could grab the tallest grandchild and pull him down to her face. She was that strong. And Jamaicans love riddles. Riddle me this, riddle me that, guess me this riddle, or perhaps not. And so my grandmother, I went to see her. I had to meet her at this shop, and I went to see her, and she said, "Okay, this is a riddle. I guarantee you, my granddaughter is going to be able to solve it." And she said, "I sell my pig where I can get the fat." Now, there are people who are vegetarian and all this stuff, but in Jamaica, there were times of the year where nothing grew, so that's it. And So anyway, she said she had the question, and I was looking. I deduced, which of course is the intuitive self. Okay, you look at this, you look at that, and so on. And sure enough, I said to her, "You purchase your goods where you can get credit." Well, everybody was, "Oh boy, this is so great. She did it. She did it." She wasn't even here to hear the conversation. And that made my grandmother feel very good. So that's what I did. When I realized that this was more than what I thought it was, I met a lot of people who kind of tried to tell me that what I've been doing all my life was wrong, was not, down, was not correct, and so on. But because it wasn't that important to me, and that maybe that's what people need to get to, is that this is your intuitive ability is basically the same as breathing. If someone told you that breathing is a bad thing, would you stop breathing? And when you stop breathing, guess what? You'll most likely die. So that's the thing. So I once I heard these people, I got the information a little bit that maybe there's something wrong with it, and then I let go. And I've been I've been doing it ever since, but I've been doing it since I was little, you know?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You know, what I think also is people don't get is they already do it. You know, they already pick up the phone and call their sick friend. You
Mm-hmm.
know, just because it popped in their mind. They already, when they get lost, go, let me figure out, oh, I think I'll go left. And they
Mm-hmm.
turn left. They already, you know, figure out, ooh, he'll like the red dress instead of the blue dress.
Mm-hmm.
Or, oh, he'll probably be in the mood for steak tonight. I'll cook that for dinner.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, and when I used to train in Atlanta, I would, you know, explain it to them that way. It's as simple as, you know, you said, as simple as breathing, because you already know the answer. It's already in the subconscious. You
Mm-hmm.
don't have to have all this big hoop-de-doo process. And I'm sorry, that's what I call it. It's the pretty puffy puffs. You
Yeah.
know, the big paddling incense and the dark room and, you know, the big black mirror over here, and oh, let me grab a card for you. Oh, we'll have to shuffle it 30 times. And it's like, oh, please, just answer the question.
Yeah.
Or, you know, I knew this medium, and she was in California, and she would go into this big welling fit before she'd even get to the first client. You know, let me get in and I'm like, oh, please, you're going to throw your neck out doing that one of these days, Rosa. And I told her that.
Yeah.
And, you know, so I think when someone starts out working with their intuitiveness, they first have to learn to take the first answer and to start out with small things.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you're in a store shopping, going down the lane. Which item is that person going to get?
Yes.
What color is the next car coming up?
Yeah.
You know, turn off the GPS and figure out how to get to where you're going.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you can practice with playing cards as well. Just turn it on and try to figure out which card you're going to pick up.
Ooh, that's cool. Yeah. I hadn't thought of that one, but that would be cool. You know, figure out which one's next or which suit's next.
Mm-hmm.
I like that idea.
Color, yeah.
Yeah. And Divine, what did you do in your training that kind of helped built you up? Because I know when you went through the angel certification, you went through a build-up with it. You know, so how did you get that connection that, okay, I know this, I don't care if they, you know, if I say the ball's red, the ball's red. You know, clients have argued, no, it's not. Yes, it is. That's irrelevant. What about you, Divine? How did you get in, you know, get that fortitude? Confidence.
Yeah, okay. Well, it also depends really on who teaches you. Who is, I couldn't, okay. I learned under Doreen Virtue and Bradley Valentine. So they also really taught us to trust what we see, what we feel. So we actually, when we did practice readings under each other, so we had a few questions. There was the person that was the reader, the other one was the client. So I had, for example, I had somebody who wanted to know something about her business. Okay. So, and I was supposed to pull some cards for her and then tell her what I felt would be the right thing to do for her. What did I see in the cards and so on? And I did that. I went just by what I felt, what I got in my messages that I heard, that I felt, and so on. And it was pretty interesting because when you read cards, you interpret not only what is on the card. You feel the messages coming. That is how it comes to me. I can tell you, for example, let me show you something. I can show you the card of blessings, right? So people, understand the word blessings, but there could be so much more to it. So when you interpret the card, or when you feel what comes up, for me it is I hear words in my head. I feel things happening. I feel physical sensations, and I simply trust that. And I need to say this happened actually the very first time that I really, really felt this very, very strongly was after one of my loved ones passed away. And I have the feeling that this person also gives me input and supports me in what I do. This from the other side, which is very interesting. However, I always say you need to trust what comes from your heart and what you see in your third, or from your third eye. What you when you close your eyes, when you can see what you see and what you feel, that is the most important thing. And that is how I built it up. And I think Doreen Virtue is really, really awesome in doing that. And so are other spiritual teachers like James Van Praagh is also very good. And I know a few others that are very good. I'm 100% sure that Lisa Williams is very good in that too. So they are all very intuitive, and they all tell you the same thing. You need to trust yourself and what comes out of you from your higher self,
Right.
however you want to call it. Back to you.
Back to me? Okay.
Sonja.
We were kind of talking earlier, too, about, some things the gifts really aren't designed for. Or sometimes the tools that we use aren't designed for the questions. Here's an example. Someone gives you a phone number, and you're supposed to just, they want just a tarot reading. And it's like, well, the tarot is going to look at that and go, what? Because it's not designed for that. And it's kind of like, that's where that intuitive side has to come in there. And you have to put that step of intuitiveness in there and go, well, this is kind of how this is going to work. Or this is why this is saying this. And people don't get that, I don't think. What do you think about that, Sonja? Do you think that sometimes they expect it to work one way and it works totally a different way?
Actually, yeah, we like labels. People love labels. So if you're an intuitive, they're not sure what to make of it. But then you pull out the tarot cards, and when they come, they sit with me for a good 15 minutes having a conversation, which is a reading. They're asking me questions, and then they say, could you pull the cards for me? And then I pull the cards, and the cards have exactly what I just said. I said, this is so, I think in many ways what the tarot cards do for people is give them confirmation. Like they can, it's a tangible for them. It's hard for them to hear stuff coming, because to them it's coming from out of the ether. It's coming from out there. But, okay, pull the cards and show me, and then I'll pull the cards, and it's exactly what I just said. And they'd be like, wow, go figure. And it's funny, it just occurred, Yeah, it just occurred to me that, people go to church and they listen to the preacher preach, but the Bible is the confirmation of what the preacher just said. You know what I mean? If he were just talking without it, have that solid thing, would they believe him? It's interesting. I think they need that tangible.
Right. I think they do too. That's why I take the cards. I have the full setup. I've got the crystal ball that just sits there. It's a beautiful quartz crystal ball. I bought it. Thought, I'll play with this. It'll be real fun. Now it's just a table setting dressing.
Exactly. I've got one around here somewhere.
Yeah. And it's like, yeah, it's nice. No, it really doesn't have any clouds or mysteries on our on switch. I've searched it out and felt it up. There is no on switch. But I think that sometimes we have to have those tools or those physical things that says, okay, because A, they don't understand the tool, so therefore that's got to click in there. But you can do a reading, and I've told people they get stuck on their tool. Do a reading with index cards sometimes. It gets really interesting. With index cards and a lighter, it gets interesting. Both of those will be interesting readings. Don't burn the place down, and don't do them together. But ask yourself these questions, and don't go, well, most cars that go in, it drives me crazy. I had another student. Well, most cars are either white or red in this town because blah, 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 blah. No. You only see white or red cars because you drive a white car and your husband drives a red car. So, look and tell me, really, what's the first color that comes to mind on the next car coming by? I think it'll be silver. You know what comes by? An 18-wheeler who's got a big old silver track on the side of it. People are just funny. I think they're just funny. I think we're all still trying to catch up with things. I think we're coming out of that era where we're all mysticized and pufficized and, dark purple curtains and all this. And we're moving into that more of that, okay, let's sit down and do a reading in the middle of a boardroom, which I had fun doing. And, because I'm dealing with this businessman or that businessman, and I'm sitting there, blah, 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 this is what you need to do. You need to go into investment capital. You need to do this. You need to go into marketing. And they look at me and go, have you been studying our business plan? And I'm like, no, why should I? It doesn't look like I need to be involved here at all. But, I think that it's harder when you come out of that, what I call English world or straight-laced word of, none of this exists, it's all hoopla, it's all puffy, smoky crap, and you sit down and you deal with one of us that are real, that are published, that are public, and we're like, hey, what's up? Oh, you want a reading? Okay, what do you want to know? Well, no, you really need to dump him because he's kind of a bozo. You knew that when you started dating. And they're like, Huh? Where's your cards? Where's the incense? Don't you have to sage me and pray over me 3 times and throw water at me or something? I'm like, no.
Yeah. It's funny, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah.
What's some of the weird techniques you've seen in your life, Sonja? Because you come from a lot of different places.
Oh boy. Okay. She came. I was living in British Columbia in this very old house, old house, full of ghosts, all sort of wonderful old house. Loved those ghosts in there. And this woman was traveling along. I don't remember. I think it's one of my clients connected her to me. She needs a place to stay for a couple of days. Could she come and stay with you? Now, I was married at the time, second husband. He thought she was the greatest thing ever because she was doing all this stuff. The woman would bark like a dog. She would start making all this noise, and she would be barking, and doing all sorts of stuff before she settles down to the reading. Her eyes would be rolling back in her head. One day I went to the supermarket, and I came home, and I heard her doing her usual barking. She was in the kitchen, and my husband was nowhere to be seen. I came around the corner. It wasn't funny. He was sitting on the chair, and she was barking at his crotch. I don't know what was in there that she thought she would get divine information. But boy, when he looked up and he saw me, and he raised his eyebrows and looked at me and looked at her, and she looked up at me and realized that, okay, I guess I've overdone it this time, and it was very funny. So yeah, that was a doozy of an experience to observe.
Barking like a dog. That's a new one.
Oh yeah.
Oh goodness! What was her spirit guide? A wolf?
Oh my! She was pretty loud too. It was very bizarre. I'd not experienced anything like that before.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my.
What about you, Divine? What's been some of the weirdest things you've seen in a delivery method or in someone trying to get in touch with themselves?
Um, well, I haven't really seen anything out of the what I would say normal, because I am not really the person who is um, out there, you know, too much.
Mm-hmm.
However, I have seen I need to say I have seen something very interesting on, I don't know, do you know the show America's Got Talent?
Mm-hmm.
Um, they had a couple there that was so awesome what they did, and that really made me think, hey, how did they do that? They were really so, from their intuition. My daughter was here and she said, Mom, this I feel like this is fake, because I said, no, they are simply brilliant. They had um, read the minds of all the judges up front.
Oh, mentalism.
You didn't see that up front, but
Mm-hmm.
when I saw that, um, I was amazed by what they did. It was not
He was the one
really
who
weird.
was doing it. Yeah, she was the one who was doing it. He was just her assistant.
Mm-hmm.
He's always her assistant, but I don't know if she could do that without him. Do you think she
Oh
could
yeah.
do that without him? I mean, they have
Oh
a
yeah.
very, very good connection.
Oh yeah. He's window
He's
dressing to
amazing.
her. You know, put him in a
Oh
bikini and stick
my.
her in a top hat, and you got him back in a magic show.
Ooh.
Yeah. Well, that is one thing that where I can say that was the most interesting thing, amazing
Mm-hmm.
thing that I have seen. It was not really weird to me. It was simply amazing. I thought that was great.
Hmm.
Yeah, I think
How they
mentalism
said
is really
the
cool.
last piece. Yeah.
Yeah, I like mentalism. It's another one of those dying arts. It's like transmediumship is a dying
Mm-hmm.
art. Nobody is doing
Mm-hmm.
transmediumship because it is so difficult. It is so hard and
Mm-hmm.
deadly. It's one of the gifts that I think is just deadly. Because I'm sorry, I've never met a trans medium yet that doesn't have heart problems, that doesn't have health problems, and you can tell as they go along and go through hundreds after hundreds of readings that the body really starts having issues.
Yeah.
Um, well, guys, let's kind of talk about our week. You know, Sonja, you know, you've got your show on Sunday, right? And what's the name of it, and how can they get a hold of you?
The show is called Change Your Mind, Shift Your Life. It's on Blog Talk Radio. And I haven't set it up yet. I don't know what I'll talk about. I go through this every now and again where I say to the guides, I don't want to do this anymore. And then they bring up something and I said, all right, I'll keep doing it, which is, so I was thinking that I might um, turn that show off, but I guess I will be doing it, continuing to do it. Oh, well, they have something to say. And
Mm-hmm.
then on Tuesday is the Oracle's Point of View, which is turning into a pretty cool little show because I had a guy calling from India, which
Mm-hmm.
was cool.
Oh.
So that was nice. That's really awesome that we make it as far as India.
Oh, honey, we
Um,
make it as far as China. China,
Wonderful.
Wow.
yeah. I'll have
Yeah.
to send you. I've got a graph that shows every area we get through. I'll send that out to you guys here soon, because you guys are, you know, the psychic coffee shops, you know, getting about 20,000 listens a month. I think last month we had 30,000. We had a lot of new shows launched too. Um, but we reach around the world, around the globe. We're on YouTube. We're on everywhere. I mean, if you've got a podcasting device, you'll probably find us. It's like,
Mm-hmm.
and you know, we also broadcast the video show. I will rebroadcast it over on Psychic.biz on one of the nights that we have availability. And so look for the Psychic Coffee Shop, and you'll pull up all our shows. But this week, Divine is joining me on Wednesday nights, and I don't know what we'll talk about. We'll probably talk about Divine and some of her training, because she's worked with a few leading spiritual people, top-notch people that I haven't worked with. So we'll probably talk shop and give you guys some shop talk, and how the different courses were. So we'll probably talk about training psychic. I think that's a good theme. And then conversations with Aeson, which will I think this week on Thursday. I don't know, guys, check the schedule, because it's going to be bouncing around a little bit, because I'm going back on tour. If you're watching in the West Virginia, Ohio area, I will be at Hawthorne's in Parkersburg on the 13th and 14th this weekend. So come out and see me there at 6 o'clock. I'm doing a meet and greet, but she also may have an opening for an appointment, because I'm only doing by appointment there. Divine, darling, you done a wonderful meditation last Sunday. What are you going to do? What are you topping yourself with this week?
Well, I will see if I can talk a little bit more about angels, connections, all that kind of stuff. I like Sonja, I don't really have a plan. It needs to come spontaneously. I think we continue with the meditations, because maybe meditations for protection, stuff like that.
Ooh, that would be nice.
That would be a good idea. All kinds of stuff in regards to meditation. Yeah, cool. I think it's a good thing.
Yes, I think it's a great thing. I do have a question for you on that. Do you have that meditation you done last Sunday wrote out?
Do I have what?
Do you have it typed up, the meditation you done last Sunday?
No.
Okay.
I do not. Not really. No.
Not really? Okay. I just wondered.
No.
Why? Because if you did, I was going to post it up on our blog, so that maybe if they didn't hear it, some people prefer to read their meditations. We could pop it up there for them.
Well, I can certainly do something like that. I can do it the next time that I write something down and I submit it to you, because I usually go by my feeling, and this is something that I need to explain to you. That is something that I learned from a young lady that her name is Emily Stoyer. She is a very young medium. She is about 30 years old, and she has a group on Facebook. She is such an incredible person, and she does also free webinars on how to develop your mediumship and stuff like that. I had to mention her today, because what she does, she comes up with her own meditations without writing anything down. And I think when things are coming to you and you really go by your feeling, that is so amazing. I mean, she does a really, really, really good job, and she has written some books and stuff. She's another one that will be one day, I think, really way more in that arena of mediums and mediumship. Yeah. I think she is on the right way.
Cool.
I don't want to be famous. I don't. Some people do that for the fame, or want to do it for the fame. I don't. I don't think. No, it scares me. Fame, all that kind of stuff. It scares me. I don't. Yeah. I just remember the lady. What was her name? Miss Cleo. She was famous, and see where she ended up. So
well, that's because they took her out of her job description, though. She was supposed to be just an actress, and they turned her into much more.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Unfortunately.
Just a quick, any show that we do on Blog Talk Radio, you can actually get a transcript of the show.
Right.
So that's cool.
Meditation typed out. It's already transcribed in particular thing. It costs money, but you can actually get a transcript of what you've just said, and you'll have the meditation typed out.
Cool. I may look into doing that, because it was very It was a very good meditation. If you guys haven't heard it, hop onto iTunes and download Angel Whispers last week. It was very touching, very much warming, and starts you out into that speed of connecting with that other side, that other self.
Yeah.
And Sonja, you've got a healing thing going on at the latter part of this month, don't you, dear?
Yeah, it's called Heal the Healer, and it's a workshop. It's a 2 days workshop event and it's residential, except I have a small amount of space, but you can always go into a hotel. But the event here helps you to reconnect to the inner child, and basically that inner child of the voice, because when we were born, we knew ourselves to be perfect, whole, and complete. But in order to remain in the physical world, our existence must be invalidated. And so what I do is I take you back to that moment so you can reconnect with that part of yourself, pull that wonderful being to you, let that person talk. In the process, if you have someone who's passed away, I take you to talk to them. And literally, if you have a dad that's gone, you can put your arms around his neck and feel the scruff of his beard and everything. So it's an incredibly powerful experience. And that's at the last weekend in August.
And where is it, darling?
It's on my website, www.sonjahaynes.com/events. So go to the events page and look it up. And it's a 2 days week, to Saturday, Sunday workshop.
Cool. All right, then, guys, I think we'll call that an end of the show. Good night, all. Have a great week. See you over at the coffee shop.
See you next week.
Bye.